At a gym in Phoenix, Rachel, a 34-year-old woman of color, confident and focused, is completing her daily workout with powerful and precise movements. While she was adjusting the dumbbells at the stand, a middle-aged man with a large physique approached, uninvited, but gave his own advice. In a dismissive tone, he claims that Rachel is using the device in the wrong way and offers to instruct her. Despite being disturbed, Rachel kept her calm, politely refused and continued her homework. However, the man refused to leave and continued to stand there, making increasingly unpleasant comments. Rachel's confidence and steadfast attitude suggest that she is not easily threatened, but the man does not seem to realize it, continuing to push the situation close to the limit. The tension in the gym gradually became suffocating as the man continued to harass Rachel. Although she tried to focus on her workout, she couldn't ignore his provocative gaze, always watching her every move. When she switched to the weight push, he said sarcastically, his voice clear enough for the whole room to hear, "A woman like you thinks she knows everything." Rachel paused, carefully put down the barbell and turned to face him. She wasn't angry, but her eyes were cold, like a smoldering flame about to flare up. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice even but carrying a weight that made the people around her quietly stop their hands, paying more attention. The man, instead of recognizing the signal to stop, became even bolder. "I mean, maybe you should do the right things instead of trying to look good," he smiled faintly, a defiant smile. Rachel took a deep breath, holding back her rising emotions. She knew who she was facing, a man full of insecurity, hiding under a false guise of confidence. Not wanting to create more chaos, Rachel returned to the exercise, her movements still precise and powerful as usual, as if he didn't exist. But her ignorance only seemed to make him angrier. Each of his words was like sharp needles, trying to pierce the calm she had erected. When she walked over to drink water, he didn't leave her alone, approaching so close that he invaded her personal space. "I'm telling you," he shouted, his tone both angry and mocking. Rachel put down the water bottle and turned to look him in the eye. Her silence was like an implicit challenge, making him even more out of control. "Do you think you're better than me?" he grunted, taking a step forward. The distance between the two of them was now only a few inches. Rachel remained calm, but her gaze became sharp as a knife, as if she was judging his every move, ready for any situation. The people in the gym started to get restless. Some people stopped completely, hesitating whether to intervene or not. An employee quietly left the front desk, but no one walked over. Rachel realized this, and although she knew she could protect herself, she was still disappointed by the silence of the crowd. When the man squeezed her arm like a flame, Rachel was no longer silent. She reacted as fast as lightning, freeing herself from the rough fist in an instant. But it's not an emotional outburst. Her every move is precise, tightly controlled, showing incredible composure and skill. Her mood did not waver, but it was clear that the boundary had finally been crossed. The man paused, perhaps not expecting Rachel to react so quickly and decisively. But instead of stopping, the embarrassment in front of everyone's eyes in the gym seemed to only make him angrier. He took a step back and then suddenly rushed over, his voice growling, "Do you think you have the right to do that?" Rachel remained calm, but her gaze became colder. She took a small step back to keep a safe distance, her body ready to defend. "I don't think I know," she replied, her voice firm but not too loud, enough for everyone to hear clearly. The man sneered, trying to hide his embarrassment by shouting, "You're the kind of person who always wants to be the center of attention, right? Do you think I'm very special?" Rachel didn't answer right away. Instead, she watched him, every gesture, every expression, as if she were reading an open book. "I don't need to prove anything to you," she said slowly, word for word like a sharp knife piercing his pride. "But I don't allow anyone to cross my boundaries." The assertiveness in Rachel's words made the air seem to freeze. The people around him, who had only dared to stand and watch, now seemed to be starting to feel the tension in this situation. A few people approached, their eyes wary but still hesitant, waiting to see what would happen next. The man took another step, but this time there was no certainty in his steps. His false confidence begins to crack at Rachel's steadfastness. "You can't just walk in here and behave like that," he said, but his voice was less defiant, and instead an imbalance that couldn't be concealed. "This isn't about me," Rachel replied, her voice sharp but not out of control. "It's about you. If you can't respect others, you don't belong here." The gym staff finally appeared, a young man with a worried expression, trying to calm the situation. "Excuse me, what's going on here?" he asked, looking from Rachel to the other man. Rachel didn't say anything, just looked at the man opposite, as if waiting for him to decide for himself what to do next. She didn't need to explain further, because everyone here had already witnessed it. The man stood still, his eyes fluctuating between Rachel and the people around her. The pressure from the crowd, along with Rachel's confidence, finally pushes him into a position to retreat. "Okay," he grunted, trying to keep the last bit of self-respect. "You don't deserve to bother me." And with those words, he turned and walked out of the gym, leaving the space filled with silence. Rachel took a deep breath, then went back to her exercise as if nothing had happened, but everyone's eyes were still watching her, admiring, amazed and admiring. After the man left, the atmosphere in the gym became strangely silent. The whispering voices that used to be are now just the sounds of machines and the heavy breathing of the practitioners. But everyone's eyes were still silently watching Rachel, as if she had just become the focus of a story that would be talked about for days to come. Rachel tried to refocus on her workout, but she couldn't ignore the gaze around her. Some people approached, expressing their support in a subtle way. "You're doing it right," a middle-aged woman whispered as she walked past Rachel. A young man raised his thumb and gestured in agreement without saying anything. However, not everyone is on Rachel's side. Some of her eyes looked uncomfortable or concerned, as if they felt that it was unnecessary for her to stand up and face the other man. A couple practicing nearby whispered something, glanced at Rachel and turned away. She realized that, although she had done nothing wrong, not everyone supported her actions. About 15 minutes later, the gym manager walked up to Rachel. He appears friendly but maintains a professional attitude. "I'm sorry for bothering you, but I need to talk to you for a bit," he said, his eyes clearly showing tension. Rachel nodded, following him into a private corner of the gym. He said softly, "We have taken note of the incident just now. Some people have complained about that man's behavior before, but no one has dared to speak out as strongly as she did. We will submit a report and consider banning him from coming back here. However, I also need to be aware that any conflict in the gym can affect the experience of other customers." Rachel understood what he meant. "I didn't mean to make trouble," she said, her voice steady but calm. "I'm just defending myself and showing him that such behavior is unacceptable." The manager nodded. His expression softened. "I understand and I appreciate that you spoke up. If there are any more problems, please let us know immediately." Rachel left the conversation, feeling both relieved and tense. Although she doesn't regret what she did, she realizes that her actions have changed everything. Every time she walked past someone, she felt a prying gaze or curiosity. At the end of the training session, Rachel packed up her things, feeling a little tired. When she left the gym, a receptionist greeted her with a smile. "Thank you for doing that," she said quietly, her voice full of appreciation. Rachel replied with a slight smile, then walked outside. On the way home, she thought about what had happened. Perhaps her actions won't change everything, but at the very least, she has created a clear boundary, not just for herself but for others in the gym. The incident at the gym quickly spread, not only limited to the walls of the center but also on social networks. One of the witnesses that day recorded a short video recording the moment Rachel confronted the man, then posted it with a status line, "This is how you stand up for yourself and others." In just a few hours, the video has attracted thousands of views and comments. Some people expressed admiration for Rachel's bravery. "She's so strong. That's exactly what we need in this society," one person wrote. "There have to be more people like her," another commenter agreed. However, not all reactions have been positive. Some criticized Rachel, saying she was too harsh or didn't need to make such a big deal. Some even defended the man's behavior, arguing that it was just a misunderstanding. Rachel wasn't directly involved in the arguments, but she couldn't help but feel the pressure of the weight of the attention she wasn't expecting. At the gym, the situation has also changed markedly. The manager, after watching the video and receiving a lot of feedback from customers, decided to introduce a new regulation on behavior in the gym, emphasizing respect for personal space. This incident is a reminder to us that everyone's safety and comfort is a top priority, he said in an email to all members. Rachel became a symbol of reluctance. Some people began to approach her, sharing their own stories of having felt helpless in similar situations. "Thank you for doing that," one young woman said with tears in her eyes. "You gave me the courage to speak up." Even so, Rachel also feels a change in the way people treat her. Some of the trainees seem to keep their distance, perhaps because they are afraid of the attention she brings. She understands that not everyone is comfortable with change or facing sensitive issues. In her personal life, Rachel also noticed the pervasive effects. Friends and family began to ask questions, sometimes out of curiosity, sometimes out of worry. "Are you okay?" her mother asked over the phone. "I'm proud of you, but I'm also worried that you'll be pressured." Rachel smiled reassuringly, but in her heart she knew that she was right. Courage always comes at a price. However, when she looks back, she feels satisfied that she acted in a way that she believed was right. She not only protects herself, but also inadvertently inspires many others. And that, whether accidentally or intentionally, is also a big step forward in the journey to affirm its value.